On the spiritual path, we have two words we often confront, the word exoteric and the word esoteric. What is exoteric is what presents itself to the senses. The ordinary five senses, that's the world we think we live in. It's the outer exoteric world. It participates in reality to a degree, but it is less real than the true interior nature, which is in a way separated from the exoteric nature and has a life all of its own on inner stages of vibration. Now, anybody who wants to know what's really going on, what caused this, what caused that, what caused the world that we exoterically appreciate, will have to penetrate into the esoteric realms and find out the laws of creation and of maintenance which are operating in that realm. The personality, our ordinary, customary, obvious self, is exoteric. Every aspect of it is exoteric. Even our emotions, we sometimes call them subjective, but they're not really subjective. Our concrete mind is still exoteric. It's part of the outer man. The inner man is the soul of love and light and sacrificial power, and that is true subjectivity. That is real, the real esoteric realm, the real esoteric nature in man. And we have to, well, we don't leave the personality behind. We infuse the personality, the exoteric self, with the esoteric self. And then we become what we all strive to be, the soul-infused personality, the blend of the esoteric and the exoteric.
The term exoteric refers to everything external in the world. The exoteric is where modern science, medicine, technology focuses on exclusively. The exoteric does not include anything that's literally metaphysical. It is only the physical. It's only things that are physically visible and apparent and measurable with modern electromagnetic equipment. The esoteric is everything else in creation, all the levels of consciousness and energy, and all the internal experiences that all living beings have, all the invisible worlds that create the visible world. So when we think of this, we can think of the metaphor of an iceberg, that all we tend to see is the tip of the iceberg that may move above the top of the water, but beneath it is the esoteric, all the hidden parts of the iceberg, all the things that have created that little tip that you see in the physical world. And that is the true reality. That is where we come from and where we will return to. That is what has created the exoteric physical world we live in.
And so with all sorts of knowledge, with all the religious teachings of the world, generally what most people come in contact with is what could be described as its outer nature, or its exoteric nature, which tends to be the level at which rules are established for our behaviors. We often run into things that speak about foods we should eat, clothing we should wear. All of the religions have these sorts of teachings inside of them. And it tends to be teachings that are focused on more things that are more related to specific times and specific cultures. So there is a certain right behavior that moves a culture or a person to the next level of understanding. And oftentimes you have great teachers who come into the world and they give a teaching. Generally what happens is that that teaching gets accepted most broadly in its simplest, which is its most exoteric form. And that over time becomes what people identify with as that religion. At the same time, every one of these great teachers also has brought in the esoteric, which is to say that which will actually unfold consciousness, not just dictate behaviors. Both of them are necessary because both of them really relate to the growth of not just the individual human being, but the human family and what we could describe as the project of humanity.
Sometimes we think that the exoteric self, and let's just say the physical body is not spiritual. We even think sometimes that our emotions are not spiritual, or our mind. And we want to be spiritual, so we want to be esoteric. But the truth of the matter is that spirit is matter and matter is spirit, and soul relates to the two. And we have to learn how to think of these as a continuum in which the individual can function on any level according to choice and not be blocked by veils and separations. We have to integrate and make a unity out of spirit, soul, and body, so they are one complete unified whole. And this, of course, is the prerogative of the truly soul-infused personality and of the highly developed individual, and that's what we're working towards, to put the different parts of ourselves together so they are all one thing. Spirit is matter, matter is spirit, and we are life, which ensouls them all.
So the study of esotericism also helps us deeply understand the inner life and subjectivity and the inner energetic system, and then what is outside of that. And it allows us to look outside from a different perspective, from the perspective of the soul, or from the perspective of the inner subjective life. And so if we are in communion with, or in alignment with, or at one with the soul life, then we can look out into the world and perceive what is outside, what is objective, in an entirely different way. And we can make different choices as a result of it. So esotericism also really looks at the difference between what is external, what is internal, what is subjective, what is objective, what is the soul and the observer, and what is the dance of the personality and form.